This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope. Missy, if you can do me a favor, can you hear me through YouTube? Is I think the echo is coming through the group chat. Is it coming through the group chat? Yeah. All right. The echo is better. All right. Missy, can you do me a favor? Can you see if the voice is coming through YouTube? Is the voice okay?
I'll check.
Okay. All right. Missy is designated into our technical support today. And we had Mohammed, our technical support today. He's fired. Missy is hired. I'm sure we're gonna get a complaint from Mohammed later at one point. All right. So we have a lot to talk about today. A lot. A lot has been happening.
Yes, the sound is working.
Sound is working. All right. We have a lot to talk about. Sheriff Glen Hill and everything Sheriff Glen Hill has to offer this community. We had trial with Sheriff Glen Hill the other day. We've appealed. So we had trial with Sheriff Glen Hill in circuit court. Before we dive into Sheriff Glen Hill and everything that 7-year-old man has to offer this community, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank our friends and supporters for being here. I've structured the podcast in a way where everybody is involved in this podcast. Now I'm gonna do my best to not tune everybody out. I'm really bad at just tuning everything out and just being in the conversation. I want to thank Missy, Julia, Dre, Casey, Stefana, Becky. Mother is here, so we are on our best behavior. Like I said, I'm going to keep everybody involved in the conversation. If you guys have a question, if you want to talk about a specific topic in the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, let me know. There's a lot to talk about. There's so much going on in this case that we can literally be here talking about this case for days, not hours, days. I posted a bunch of videos just to organize our page of the events that happened at the scene. And it gives you, it shows you a picture. I mean, these investigators that got involved are not investigating a vehicle accident. It sure looked like they're targeting Mustafa. Now, why are they targeting Mustafa? This community does not know that Mustafa was involved in a lawsuit against the police. Over $500,000 lawsuit. A lawsuit that started in 2018. The police violated Mustafa's rights. And Mustafa sued the police. And the lawyer at the time told Mustafa, expect to be harassed. You're going against the police. You're filing a lawsuit against the police department. Now, it's one thing when I say it. It's a completely different thing when the lawyer says it. This is a portion of the phone call conversation that we had with Mustafa's lawyer at the time. And we were telling him they falsified the police reports. They beat Mustafa. Correctional officer beat Mustafa inside the jail. And this lawyer says, I have no doubt that they falsified your brother's police report. I have no doubt that they beat your brother inside the jail. Let's listen to the phone call.
The investigator that wrote the report, he lied on the report. We recorded that conversation.
I'm sure he did.
Yes, sir.
Frankly, I'm sure they all know that you sued the Stafford cops. And they beat your brother up because they know that you sued the Stafford cops.
Yes, sir.
Now, the disturbing part about the whole entire thing is we have evidence that they falsified Mustafa's police reports. We're talking about Mustafa's police reports. And in the process, correctional officers would enter Mustafa's cell, beat him, sexually assault him, and deny him medical. Now, at the time, we went to the sheriff of that jail that Mustafa was incarcerated in. The mission statement for the sheriff, for the superintendent, the mission statement for the jail is that you're going to keep inmates safe, pre-trial detainees. These inmates have not been convicted. They're innocent till proven guilty. The mission statement for the jail is that you're going to keep inmates safe until you get your day in court. Till you get your day in court. That's the mission statement for the jail. So we went to the sheriff. We told him, your correctional officer beat, abused, denied my brother medical. Now, at the time, Sheriff Glen Hill said nothing happened. My correctional officer would never do anything like this. And we're like, Sheriff, you have a camera, a CCTV camera inside the jail. Can we see that camera? Can we sit down with you and look at the situation? Look at the camera. There is no camera. They refuse to give us the cameras. They refuse to look into the situation, and they flat out say nothing happened. That their correctional officer will never do anything like this. Now, unfortunately for this sheriff, is we have a CCTV video from inside the jail that shows correctional officer, 6 giant correctional officer, enter Mustafa's cell only to take out a half-naked, unconscious Mustafa. He's handcuffed behind his back. He's unconscious. He's half-naked. And they're still hitting him. One correctional officer would hit him on the head and then kicks him. And then drag him from one cell down the stairs into another cell. In the other cell, this is the video. In the other cell, they strip him completely naked. They sexually assault him and then deny him medical. Now, we have a federal lawsuit against the jail, and we're in the discovery portion of it. More videos are going to come out. This is a video where 6 giant what justifies 6 giant correctional officers enter Mustafa's cell, and one of the correctional officers, you see how they rush into that cell? And then one of the correctional officers already has his taser unholstered. What justifies rushing into a cell like this, having your taser unholstered? You have intent to cause damage. You're going in to cause damage. At the time, this is May 24, 2023. At the time, what was going on the outside of the jail when this situation is happening to Mustafa? At the time, we had evidence that an investigator with the police department that's been there for 20 years had falsified Mustafa's police reports. Now, in the process of us talking about this investigator and how they falsified Mustafa's police report, this happens. Anybody that looks at that situation will tell you what's happening here. The lawyer himself, he says, I have no doubt they falsified your brother's police report and they beat your brother because you had a lawsuit against the police. At the time, we're talking about Mustafa, his falsified police report, and then this happened. If I didn't know any better, what they're doing, they want to silence Mustafa. They want to silence the family on the outside. What do you expect out of this situation? Was Mustafa supposed to be so terrified that he's going to call us and tell us, for the love of God, Please stop talking about my falsified police report. And we were supposed to be so terrified that we're not going to talk about what this county is doing to Mustafa. At the time, the sheriff said nothing happened. The Department of Justice, we filed with the Department of Justice only to get the FBI involved. Special Agent Lindsay Coulter, Special Agent Samantha Adam, Supervisor Huckle got involved. These are local FBI agents. They got involved only to tell us the CCTV. There is no CCTV video. A video does not exist. And then what they did, they closed out the case, report back to the DOJ, said nothing to see here. What they've done is they covered up for the jail. These agents, these local FBI agents, got involved only to tell the prosecutor with the DOJ nothing to see here. Well, unfortunately for them, we have the CCTV video, and we've refiled with the Department of Justice. And in light of our political climate, with Trump being in office, Kash Patel being in office, a lot of things are changing. And we ask Kash Patel to look into the Mustafa Al-Jazari file. I mean, I'll tell you, a lot of people will tell you, well, file a lawsuit. We are filing a lawsuit, but what's happening here is there's a criminal nature to what these correctional officers did. It's not about a lawsuit. It's not about filing a lawsuit and getting money for it. We don't care about the money. We're here to tell the Department of Justice. We're here to tell Kash Patel that agents got involved, FBI agents got involved only to cover up for this jail. I mean, what is this jail? Why would they cover up for the jail? And then when you do your research, you find out why they covered up for this jail. I mean, to take out an inmate, unconscious, half naked, from one cell into another cell and pretend nothing is happening, that's a crime. It's not only a crime that these correctional officers committed, it's a crime that these FBI agents got involved only to pretend nothing happened. And then when you do your research, you find out what's happening here. What's happening here is we have a local jail that's a private jail. This jail doesn't fall under the Department of Corrections. This is a private jail. It has its own jail board. It operates different. It has it's not under the Department of Corrections. They literally have their own jail board that oversee everything that goes on inside this jail. I mean, the highest authority in Prince William County, in Virginia, over this private jail is the jail board. And people will ask me, what does that mean? What is a jail board? A jail board is a number of members that's assigned into overseeing this jail. And from the outside looking in, it sounds perfect. I mean, you've got the Sheriff Glen Hill. He's a jail board member. You've got the Chief of Police. He's a jail board member. You've got the Commonwealth Attorney. She's a jail board member. You've got the Human Rights Commission out of Prince William County. He's a jail board member. I mean, looking outside into, you think you have so much authority that nothing would go wrong. But every single person on the jail board is a conflict of interest. You have the Commonwealth Attorney who prosecutes individuals holding another position as a jail board member to oversee and protect inmates. How could you prosecute somebody and then make sure that they're protected? I mean, if I was a Commonwealth Attorney, what's happening here is it's in the best interest of the Commonwealth Attorney to have an inmate, a pretrial inmate, so badly abused, because when you give them a plea deal, they're just going to take it. They're going to be begging you to take it. And that's the problem here. How could you prosecute an inmate, but then protect this inmate? There's a conflict of interest here. You have correctional officer that would beat, abuse, sexually assault. I mean, you're abusing an inmate. You've got correctional officer that will engage in that behavior. And then we're leaving it to a Commonwealth attorney that's supposed to, she's prosecuting this inmate, and she wants to secure prosecution, and the way she secures prosecution is by plea deals. I mean, why would she even help this inmate? She's going to look the other way and pretend nothing is happening, so that when her prosecutors give them a plea deal, they're begging her for that plea deal. Get me the hell out of here. I'll take whatever plea deal you throw at me. I mean, what does she expect out of Mustafa? Mustafa has been held at a county jail. I mean, think about what's happening here. He's not in prison. He's not convicted. He hadn't even had his trial yet. He had his pre-trial is suspended. Mustafa had not had a pre-trial. Amy Ashworth suspended his pre-trial. A pre-trial is when you're accusing an individual with a charge, and you're supposed to bring the evidence forward to say, I'm charging you with this, this, and that. What's your evidence? This comes out during a pretrial. I mean, Mustafa doesn't even have a pretrial. So you've held Mustafa for over 2 years now with no pretrial in a county jail in solitary confinement, and his incarceration condition is this: correctional officer beat him, sexually assault him, deny him medical, and his health is deteriorating. In Virginia, we have a 6-month speedy trial. Now, how is Amy Ashworth, the Commonwealth attorney, getting away with holding a pretrial inmate? How is she getting away with holding Mustafa in a county jail for over 2 years? Well, what she does is the same thing that she does to a number of individuals that we come across, and these are the files that we come across. God knows how many other individuals that she's doing it with. It seems like it's a common practice for Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. What she does, she'll charge you with whatever. She'll charge you with something, and then 6 months later, no process, drops your charges and then upgrades them to something higher. Another 6 months, she'll do the same thing. And that's how she gets away with holding an inmate inside the jail for as long as she's holding. Every 6 months, she upgrades the charge. She'll charge him with something else. Drop the old charges, charge him. And then the disturbing part is there's no new evidence that you're upgrading these charges. Mustafa had a vehicle accident. The dash camera inside his vehicle showed that this is a vehicle accident. The investigators on scene are saying this is a vehicle accident, that Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. The computer inside the vehicle shows that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time. The police mechanic say that there is brake failure, transmission failure, drive shaft disconnect. There's mechanical failure. Witnesses say that this is a vehicle accident. Every piece of evidence in this case that this is a vehicle accident. What did they do to charge Mustafa with manslaughter? To charge someone with manslaughter, there has to be negligence on their side. I mean, there has to be negligence. You have to have done something to contribute to this vehicle accident to be charged with manslaughter. What Amy Ashworth did, what her investigators did, is Mustafa's blood has no alcohol and no drugs. No alcohol, no drugs. So no alcohol, no drugs. He's not speeding. He's not driving reckless. The dash camera show he's driving normal. What else? What else would contribute to a vehicle accident? Nothing in this vehicle accident that he did to contribute to the vehicle accident. It's an accident. It's a vehicle accident. What did the main investigator do? After talking to Mustafa on the phone, he falsified Mustafa's statement on the police report. He said, "You told me that you were arguing with your girlfriend. You told me that you were angry at your girlfriend inside the vehicle. That you were arguing with your girlfriend inside the vehicle, and you were angry at your girlfriend inside the vehicle, and you told me that. Now, unfortunately for this investigator, my other brother Muhammad had recorded that phone call conversation. And that's how they got away with charging Mustafa with manslaughter. Originally, what Mustafa was charged with is manslaughter. Now, in our effort to bring this audio recording, this police report, to the police department, to the chief of police, to the Commonwealth attorney, to the prosecutor, that, hey, your investigator has falsified my brother's statements, that my brother never said that. What they've done is, at the time, I remember, they sealed off the dash camera. They sealed off the dash camera, and they said, on the dash camera, it shows that Mustafa was arguing with Dorothy, that he was angry at Dorothy, and he had crashed his vehicle on purpose. Now, they wouldn't share the dash camera. They wouldn't share it with Mustafa. They wouldn't share it with the family. They wouldn't share it with the community. And we're supposed to take their words for it. And then they falsified the police reports. So now, they won't share the dash camera. They sealed it off. And I remember at the time, they wouldn't even talk about the dash camera out to the community. They went on the news. They said that they didn't even talk about the dash camera. So in our effort to bring this audio recording, this police report that's been falsified, to the appropriate individuals in the police department and the Commonwealth Attorney Office, this happens. 6 giant correctional officers would enter my brother's cell, beat him, sexually assault him, and then deny him medical. And that was supposed to silence Mustafa and us from moving forward against this county and talking about what they've done to Mustafa. We went to Internal Affairs. We supplied them with the recording. We had a conversation with First Sergeant Sean Shelton with Internal Affairs. Sean Shelton called us after our meeting, that he reviewed the audio, he reviewed the police report. And we have a whole entire a 90-minute conversation inside Internal Affairs. That phone call, that conversation is recorded. It's posted on the internet. And you can clearly see we played the audio for him. He heard the audio. He agreed that it's falsified. And then called us later and told us what I've done is that I notified the chief of police, Peter Newsham. I reached out to Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. I told her about the falsified statements. By the way, this phone call is recorded. And we're moving forward against this investigator. We're going to heavily investigate Investigator Robert Drum. We trusted Internal Affairs. I mean, this is an agency within an agency. I mean, it's one thing when you talk about a police officer that falsified a police report. It's another thing when you talk about a whole entire agency within an agency. Now, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, what she did 5 days later, she drops the manslaughter after Internal Affairs. First Sergeant Sean Shelton calls her. 5 days later, she drops the manslaughter after he tells her, your investigator falsified the police report. She drops the manslaughter and she upgrades it to murder 2. She's retaliating. She's protecting her investigator. And at the time, they sent us a letter. They told us that this investigator has been reprimanded, that they found police misconduct, that he's been reprimanded. And to this day, we don't know how they reprimanded this investigator. Now, what's disturbing, the disturbing part is, they admit that the police report is falsified on a phone call to the Commonwealth Attorney. The Commonwealth Attorney issues out a statement that, yes, her investigator falsified the police report. But in their internal memos, there's supposed to be a supplement report. I mean, a supplement report is where, when you have a falsification on a police report, you put in another report to correct the police report. Now, Mustafa never told this investigator I was arguing with my girlfriend inside the vehicle. I was angry at my girlfriend inside the vehicle. Mustafa never said that. You can clearly hear the conversation on the audio between Mustafa and the investigator. Now, what's disturbing is when you open the discovery, you realize that Internal Affairs says we couldn't hear the audio. What do you mean you couldn't hear the audio? I mean, think about what we're talking about. We're talking about Internal Affairs. Internal Affairs, to this day, they wouldn't share what they've done to Investigator Drum to hold him accountable. What the supplement report. It was the whole process is they concealed the whole process. That you're supposed to just trust our Internal Affairs agency because we will get to the bottom of this investigator. And there is trust that we build within the community that we would not allow an investigator to flat out falsify a police report. I mean, this is so disturbing that now you have Internal Affairs involved. Internal Affairs has a supplement report where they can't hear the audio, even though the audio is crystal clear. And the bigger problem here is that when the police department puts in police reports, puts in supplement reports, the Commonwealth Attorney is a separate agency from the police department. The Commonwealth Attorney brings up charges based on police reports. I mean, if the police report says, we can't hear the audio, Mustafa said, I was arguing inside the vehicle. I was angry with my girlfriend inside the vehicle. The Commonwealth Attorney is bringing up charges based on police report. They're not going to sit there and watch body cams. They're not going to sit there. I mean, that's the excuse. 100%, we know they're watching body cams. We know they're working hand in hand with the police department. But what you have here is the police department is shifting the blame. When we go back to the police department, we talked to Sean Shelton and Lieutenant Spino with Internal Affairs. They says, we've done our part. It's the Commonwealth Attorney that's bringing up the charges. It's not us. That's a separate agency. And then you go to the Commonwealth Attorney. She says, I'm bringing up charges based on the investigation, based on the police reports. I mean, what's happening here? When you open the discovery, Mustafa's discovery, we thought that's the only thing that's falsified in the discovery. That the conversation between Investigator Drum and Mustafa is what's falsified. No. Every police report in Mustafa's case is falsified. And I'm not exaggerating. I have literally the police reports. And I'm actively posting them on the internet. You can do your own homework. You don't have to take my word for it. Go look at the body cams and match them up with the police reports. One example. Investigator on the main investigator, Robert Drum, the same one that falsified the police report. On scene says these are Mustafa's skid marks, brake marks. The witnesses say that these are Mustafa brake marks. You open the discovery. Nowhere in the discovery does it say that Mustafa had brake marks. Mustafa had a brake mark before he entered oncoming traffic, as soon as he hit in oncoming traffic, and skid marks all the way through. Where is that in the police reports? Nowhere in the police report that you'll find Mustafa's skid mark. Now, what's disturbing about this is when you watch the body cams, you'll see Mustafa's skid mark through the police body cam. When they're walking around the scene, you'll see Mustafa's skid mark. Investigator Drum took pictures on he had a Nokia camera, and he took pictures with his camera of Mustafa's skid marks. But in the police report, they don't say anything about skid marks. As a matter of fact, they say Mustafa did not have skid mark. Investigator Chad Mason gets on a stand and says Mustafa did not have any skid marks. Well, that's interesting, Chad Mason. That's interesting, Investigator Robert Drum. I've got a witness on the scene. I mean, by the way, these body cams, this discovery, they went, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, went to Judge Carol Weimer, and she sealed off the whole entire thing. She sealed it off from Mustafa. She sealed off the discovery from the family. And she sealed it off from the community. I mean, to this day, the community does not get to watch the dash camera. Forget the body cams. Forget the discovery. The dash camera inside the car, you're not allowed to watch that dash camera. You know what's really interesting? I was going through my notes. And in my notes, I read an email that Delegate Kelly Fowler at one point reached out to Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. And she told her, I'm watching this case, the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, play out on social media, and your investigator falsified the police reports. Why are you allowing a police officer and you're building a case on falsified police reports? She reaches out back to her and tells her, you don't know the evidence that I have in this case. She says, we're not going to try this case out on the internet. And she tells her there's ethical violations as the bar law. You know, she tells her there's ethical violations where I'm not going to try this case on the internet. Then what are you doing having your investigator go on the news and lie about Mustafa? You put out a statement on the news saying that, yes, you know about your officer falsifying the police report, but you have other evidence that you're building your case on. You're issuing a statement on the internet. But when Kelly Fowler reaches out to you, you tell her, I can't go on the media and talk about this case. You're already talking about this case, ma'am. You release 5 seconds of this dash camera that's chopped up to the community. Why not release the whole thing? You have no problem releasing 5 seconds, but you're comfortable with chopping up this dash camera, taking out 3 seconds in the beginning, piecing it together with 2 seconds in the end. Like you're releasing a deformed version of a dash camera, and you're telling the community this is what happened. No, ma'am, you're lying to the community. But when Delegate Kelly Fowler calls you, you said it's an ethical violation that I come out to the media and talk about this case before it's over. You're already all over the internet. You're already all over the news. NBC4, Julie Carey, Fox 5, Channel 7, Channel 9. You're all over the news. So it's okay for you to lie on the news, but you're not comfortable telling a delegate what's really happening here. And she tells her, you don't know what other evidence I have that I'm building my case on. And she tells her, you know what's really disturbing? Is at the time, she can get away with telling Delegate Kelly Fowler that. I mean, where is this delegate? I mean, is this delegate comfortable with being duped with Commonwealth Amy Ashworth? I mean, you flat out lied to this delegate. I mean, where is Delegate Kelly Fowler? That's a good question. I mean, am I supposed to go out and camp in front of her office, put a table, put this whole equipment, and camp out there for a couple of days to get an answer out of Delegate Kelly Fowler? I don't know. I mean, I have the whole entire discovery. I have the whole entire, all the body cams. And I'd like to share them with Delegate Kelly Fowler. And you tell me, ma'am, if Commonwealth Amy Ashworth lied to you a year ago. I mean, you say that your husband is a police officer. And he no longer wanted to be with the police department because he wasn't okay with corruption. That he literally stood up against corruption within a police department. He no longer went along with what they wanted. That he didn't want to be a police officer anymore. That's what you stand for. I mean, the first thing that you told us was that this is who you are. You're that kind of delegate. You're here for the community. And now that you know that I literally have the evidence to show you that this Commonwealth attorney lied to you. Where are you? I mean, is it just... I mean, you have a page here. We all are familiar with Delegate Kelly Farrell's TikTok page and how she's very active on TikTok. She made 2 videos for Mustafa. She's active on TikTok. I mean, is it just making videos? Is that what you're doing here, ma'am? Are you just getting involved just to make a video? I mean, I'm literally sitting here telling you I have evidence where a Commonwealth attorney lied to you. But hey, maybe to get this delegate attention, we have to camp out in front of her office, sit there for a couple of days, podcast day in, day out to get this delegate's attention. I don't know. Maybe she's busy with something else. I don't know. But I literally have the evidence to show this delegate that Commonwealth Amy Ashworth lied to you. And if you're comfortable with someone lying to you, that's a different story. Someone else will listen. I mean, you say you care about the community. Where are you? This is a video of a witness. By the way, this video is sealed. Till today, this video is sealed, and it's been sealed for over 2 years. Apparently, there's a witness that says, Mustafa, I heard the brake marks. I've heard the brake skids. He was literally right behind me, and I heard when he hit the brake. Why is this not in the discovery? Let's watch that video.
Hi. Hey, one of you guys.
Hi. 167 to 480.
Hi. Hey, one of you guys see the crash?
We didn't actually see it. He was driving right behind us.
The Charger? Got a
We
Chrysler?
heard it and turned around, and I was the only one who could get on with 911. So
What happened? Like, did you see
he
him?
was coming this way. We heard brake skid, and we looked back, and
We heard he was right behind me, and we heard brake skids. She heard Mustafa hit the brake. I mean, pay close attention to what this officer is going to tell her. She tells him, I heard brake skids. He asks her, did you see anything? Was he driving reckless? Did you see anything? She says, no, he was driving normal. I heard the brakes. And then he tells her, all right, ma'am, there is a form for you to fill out. Just go ahead and put in there that there was nothing wrong with the car, and he just turned into oncoming traffic. She just told you that she heard him hit the brake. And he's literally telling her, yeah, don't worry about the brakes. Just go ahead and put in there that he was driving okay, and all of a sudden he turned into oncoming traffic. I mean, if this isn't changing her statement, it's trying to get her to change her statement. I don't know what it is. I mean, listen to it. I mean, this is disturbing.
What lane were you guys driving at?
I was in the far one because we were going to turn in to go to Target.
Okay. And he was just driving behind you? Did you see any behavior before that indicated there was anything going on?
Nope.
Didn't see him speeding or swerving?
Not that I know of. I mean, yeah, the
Okay.
skids.
So when you heard skidding, when you looked back, what did you see?
Him back over there in that car, and I heard her screaming, the SUV driver.
Okay. Did
Screaming,
you
and she got out.
see the car as it was in motion or after it had hit the wall?
After I hit the wall, right?
Okay.
And I called 911 after pulling over, and everyone else was saying they couldn't even get through, so I was the only one
Yeah, there was a lot of people calling
on the
at the same time.
phone. Yeah.
Okay. Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you please fill this out for me? This is just a witness statement.
Okay.
Basically, just everything that you just told me.
Okay.
So you were driving this direction, the car was driving behind you, didn't see any apparent indications that something was going on, and then all of a sudden came across. And one of
What are we listening to? Can you fill this out for me? I mean, she just told you, I heard him hit the brake. I heard his brake. He's like, can you do me a favor? Can you fill this out? He was driving normal, and all of a sudden he goes into traffic. She just told you she heard him hit the brake. What's really disturbing is nowhere in the discovery that you hear anything about him hitting the brake. This lady, when she fills out the statement, she comes back to him and she tells him, just want to let you know, I heard his brake. Listen.
Us, you grab any officer, just let him know when you're done, and one of us will come down here. Yep. Sorry about that.
So I started writing that, but we technically didn't see him. Like, we knew he was behind us,
That's fine.
so I just crossed that out. So I was like, we didn't witness it.
All right, what you
But we
did
heard
then?
the
That's perfect.
squealing and
Perfect.
stuff, so.
Are you
I heard the squealing. He's talking about his brakes. She really wants to get that in there because this police officer doesn't seem to want to pay attention. Intentionally, not intentionally, but it seems that he wants to coerce her statement. She's telling you, I heard his brake marks. I heard him hit the brake. Yeah, just go ahead and put in there that, yeah, he was driving okay, and then he just went into oncoming traffic. What about his brakes? What about him? What about her telling you that he hit the brake? I mean, this is so disturbing. You're going to see a body cam where this officer is walking back to his car. He passes Mustafa's car.
able to hang out for a few more minutes?
Sure.
He passes Mustafa's car,
We're going into Target.
and then he gets to
the car.
Okay.
the other side of traffic where Mustafa, the lane that Mustafa was driving.
Okay, yep, that's
And literally right there, before oncoming traffic, there's a skid marks, Mustafa skid marks.
yeah, that's what's called.
But nowhere in the discovery,
Thank you.
nowhere in the discovery are they talking about Mustafa skid marks. How? Drum took pictures of Mustafa skid mark on his camera. He has a giant camera. He's walking around. He's taking pictures. And they seal off the discovery. They seal off the body cam. But when you watch the videos, when you watch the pictures that Drum took, you realize and you see Mustafa's skid mark. This is Mustafa's car. This is Mustafa's car. That's the SUV. And this officer is walking back to his cruiser. So he's passing by Mustafa's car. He's passing the SUV. And he's getting back to where his cruiser is. And his cruiser is on the other side where Mustafa's lane was. Before oncoming traffic. And you see right here, Mustafa's skid mark. You see right there? That right there is Mustafa's skid mark. We have still pictures that Drum took on his Nokia camera. It's in the discovery. But of course, they seal everything. And they say, nope, we didn't find any skid marks. Chad Mason gets on the scene and says, there are no skid marks. Well, what are you doing, sir? Are you feeling comfortable that Judge Carol Weimer sealed off the discovery? You have Sheriff Glenn Hill making sure he has a whole entire system outside the door where no one is recording the proceeding. He's comfortable that this information is not going to get out. They're all working on concealing that this is a vehicle accident. They're charging Mustafa with murder. Question here is, how could this be murder if Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident? This is an investigator on the scene that says, Mustafa skipped all the vehicles. These are his skid marks. He made it to the other side. The SUV turned into him. How could this be murder if Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident? Now, the question is,
Neither is mom drive shotgun.
let's watch the video.
So driver's not buckled. Neither is mom drive shotgun.
Awesome. At least the kid was.
Kid was buckled. I'm guessing she was half ejected because that whole side's free bars. She was buckled.
Yeah. Looks like I'll be coming in tomorrow.
They went on the news and they said on day one, NBC4, Fox 5, they ran a news clip. They said investigators say 5-year-old Empress was not buckled. Mustafa drove. Investigators say drove into oncoming traffic, head-on collision. And what they're insinuating is this Mustafa. His girlfriend is white. This Mustafa did not buckle the baby on purpose. And it's a white girl that's involved. This Mustafa is a monster that he wanted and purposely did not buckle this baby. I mean, what is the investigator saying on the scene? This investigator is saying 5-year-old Empress is buckled. When we watch the dash camera, we see that her mother, Mustafa, tells his girlfriend to make sure 5-year-old Empress is buckled. Dorothy, his girlfriend, gets up, buckles the baby. So why would they lie on the news? So they seal off the body cam, they seal off the dash camera, they seal off, and they're on the scene saying that 5-year-old Empress is buckled. But they lie to the community, and they thought they can get away with it.
So you see your marks now, Drum?
Well, the AOI is somewhere around here. That comes all the way back to about right here.
I think they did. When he was in that y'all, he just continued to spun her around, almost in place. Because your marks end right around in here.
So
Get that away. So I mean, those are definitely theirs.
Chad Mason and Robert Drum said all these skid marks are his. Chad Mason gets up on the scene and said Mustafa did not have any skid marks. Now keep in mind, when you look at the computer inside the SUV, the other vehicle, you see that she was going over the speed limit. You see that she never hit the brake. Did not hit the brake at all. So all these skid marks are Mustafa skid marks. She slammed into Mustafa at full force. Never hit the brake. Apparently, she's a PLS patient. She has lower weak control function. Some condition that you have lower motor function in your upper body, lower body. She's on some kind of medication that where she shouldn't be on the road. So she never hit the brake. So all these skid marks are Mustafa skid marks. Mustafa hit the brake. The computer inside the vehicle showed that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time. Mustafa had brake failure. The mechanic inside the police station inspected the vehicle and found brake failure. That only 2 sets out of 4 is working. The front passenger, the back passenger, the brakes did not work. The only brakes that were working is the driver, front and back. The rest did not work. That you literally have brake failure. The vehicle went from 55 to 35, but could not come to a complete stop. That when he took this lane, he couldn't get back into traffic. You can't go forward. There's a sidewalk, and you end up in oncoming traffic. The prosecutor says in court that Mustafa jerked the vehicle into oncoming. That's not true. He did not jerk the vehicle into oncoming traffic. He ended up in oncoming traffic. You can clearly see from the dash camera that Mustafa's steering wheel is still going straight. And what did he do when he ended up in oncoming traffic? He hit the brake. There's brake marks right there. He ends up in oncoming traffic. What did he do? This investigator tells us what he did. He avoided every vehicle, made it all the way to the other side. The SUV turned into Mustafa after he cleared the SUV. Now, how could you charge Mustafa with murder? Mustafa today is being charged with murder by Amy Ashworth. And he's been held in solitary confinement for over 2 years in a county jail without a preliminary hearing, being charged with murder when he did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. That's not me telling this community that. The body cam speaks for themselves. The documents in the discovery show that the police reports have been falsified. It's no longer that you sit here and listen to me. You literally can do your homework, watch the body cams, look at the documents. You tell me if this is not a vehicle accident. This investigator says this is a vehicle accident.
Somewhere. It doesn't come off till here.
So you think that's the free tire? Is
I
that
think so because it comes here and rotates.
What's causing the infinity mark right here on the display line?
well, this is spinning, but it only spun once. Because that's all the drag marks from the front right.
Yeah, I see them.
That's all fucked up right there.
It's greasy.
Did you have to get from him? Yeah, so that's all him. He spun twice.
That's all him. Did you have skid marks from him? That's all him. And then he asked him, did you have skid marks before he entered oncoming traffic? He says, nope. When he literally took pictures of Mustafa's skid marks from before he entered into oncoming traffic. Before the vehicle entered oncoming traffic, there are skid marks that Mustafa hit the brake. But there is brake failure, the vehicle would not stop. And from the body cam that we watched earlier, where we see the skid mark, when the police officer is walking back to his vehicle, and he goes to Mustafa's lane, you will literally see Mustafa's skid mark right there.
Because the damage is on the right, which caused him to flip that way. So,
And then it finally broke off with suit.
so that's her.
They're coming in sideways.
Yep.
It gets popped, rotates.
She just rolls backwards.
So here's the question: which way did they? Because she comes straight, she hits.
She would have turned into it.
She would have turned into him. The only way this vehicle accident would happen is she would have had to turn into him. That's not me saying this. See, the disturbing part about this is getting to a point where it's so disturbing. It's no longer me talking about this. The investigators are literally saying it. He says that Mustafa cleared all the vehicles, made it to the other side, only for the SUV to slam into him. Is there skid marks? Yeah, all these are his skid marks. But he didn't have skid marks from there. And then we find Mustafa's skid marks. Waleed, thank you for being here, sir. I remember when I met you when I was protesting at the jail parking lot. I think that was right before I got arrested by Sheriff Glen Hill. Waleed, thank you for being here. What's interesting is Mustafa is held in a county jail going over 2 years without a preliminary hearing. That's disturbing. That is absolutely disturbing. Give me a case where you don't get a preliminary hearing. I mean, why are they sealing up? They're so terrified. I'll tell you why they don't have a preliminary hearing. Because you have to present the evidence. And the minute that you present the evidence, you have to release Mustafa. This prosecutor, this Commonwealth attorney, are terrified from the evidence itself. Why is Mustafa still in jail? Why had Mustafa not had trial? Wasn't his trial in December? He had trial in December. We were supposed to put the evidence on the record and go into trial. They refused to put the evidence on the record. 3 exonerating factors here. 3 exonerating things in Mustafa's case. The prosecutor are terrified to put the 3 evidence on the record. His home Google Nest. Mustafa has a Google Nest inside the apartment. Days on days, that shows it's a beautiful relationship with the family. The prosecutor is terrified to put the Google Nest on the record. For over 2 years, she doesn't want to look at it. Now, what's disturbing is out of Prince William County, we have a case where the Latoya Crabb case. Latoya Crabb is an individual that, in self-defense, she shot her husband. That's the whole entire case. In self-defense, she shot her husband. Now, she has a Ring camera inside her apartment. A Ring camera is the same thing as a Google Nest camera. Now, the Ring Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is invested, and she's looking into the Ring camera in the Latoya Crabb case, but she refused to look at the Google Nest videos in Mustafa's apartment. How does that make any sense? Why are you, as a Commonwealth attorney, why do you cherry pick what evidence to look into? This is exonerating evidence. The dash camera shows that this is a vehicle accident. The computer inside the vehicle showed that this is a vehicle accident. The investigators say that this is a vehicle accident. The witnesses say that this is a vehicle accident. Of course, they say that on the body cam, but they falsify the police report. They take the stand and lie about everything. But if it wasn't that we have the body cams, we can't prove what they're saying on the scene. Everything in this case shows it's a vehicle accident. So what did they do? What did the Commonwealth attorney do? She's using individuals that are literally telling her they were not there, and she's using them as character witness into Mustafa's character, into Mustafa's relationship, and they're defaming Mustafa, and they're saying Mustafa is abusive to his girlfriend, to the kids. Now, what's disturbing is those individuals were not there. They were not there. They tell you they were not there. We have their body cams where they tell you they were not there. This is hearsay. What Commonwealth Amy Ashworth did is she sealed off the body cam, because once you watch the body cam, you will literally find out that she has no witnesses. The witnesses that they claim that they're witnesses is hearsay. Are liars. Because they tell you we were not there. We didn't see anything. How could you be a witness if you're not there? And you find that out from the body cams. Now, the disturbing part is the Commonwealth attorney is relying on those individuals that tell you we were not there, we didn't see anything, and she's avoiding to look at the Google Nest video inside the apartment. I mean, you're sitting there asking individuals that were not there about Mustafa's relationship with his girlfriend, with the kids, and you're avoiding to watch the videos inside the apartment? This is ridiculous. But she has no problem looking into the Ring camera in the Latoya Crabb case. But Mustafa's case, she's terrified to look at the Google Nest. Because once you watch the Google Nest, it's going to show that the Commonwealth attorney is lying about this case. Is using witnesses that were not there. That's hearsay in hearsay. Hearsay inside of hearsay. You don't have to take my word for it. I've got the body cams that you can literally go watch them yourself. And we take a deep dive into these individuals. Now, the Google Nest, we wanted it to be on the record. The vehicle, the police mechanic are inspecting the vehicle, and they're finding out there's brake failure, there's major mechanic failure that malfunctioned while Mustafa was driving and he hit the brake. There's brake failure. There's transmission failure. The drive shaft disconnected. This is major mechanical failure while you're driving. You're going 55 miles an hour, which is the speed limit. You hit the brake, there's no brake. And the police mechanic is saying this. They're inspecting the vehicle, and they said the reason that Mustafa could not stop is because there is brake failure. Now, by law, you're entitled to hire an independent expert to inspect the vehicle to find out why is there mechanical failure. We have a private investigator that went deep undercover and found out that the individuals that Commonwealth Amy Ashworth is using are conspiring to kill Mustafa. We have that on a recorded line. 2 of the star witnesses that say we were not there, we didn't see anything, but are sitting there defaming Mustafa and are saying that Mustafa is abusive to his girlfriend and the kids, apparently were conspiring against Mustafa. They wanted to kill Mustafa. We have that on a recorded line. Let me pull that for everybody. Now, Mustafa's vehicle has a mechanical failure. And the police are saying it, that this vehicle malfunctioned while you were driving it. Now, you can hire independent experts to find out. Go in, by law. We already paid someone $5,000, but the county blocked this individual from inspecting the vehicle. What is the county terrified that we're going to find in this vehicle? Because once you hire an independent expert, you can find out that someone tampered with the vehicle. Was it just mechanical failure? And you can take their report. Why is the county terrified that we're going to inspect this vehicle? Even though there's a judge order to inspect the vehicle. On the body cam show that the police did not allow the independent expert that we paid $5,000 to inspect the vehicle. They told him absolutely not. That's on the body cam. In the discovery, it shows they wrote that we allowed the expert to inspect the vehicle. That is not true. In the body cam, it shows that they blocked the expert. They told him absolutely not, you can't inspect the vehicle. You have a judge order that allows you to inspect the vehicle. And police officers are sitting there. Investigator Drum tells the independent expert, you can't inspect the vehicle. That's illegal. The third factor in this case, the third piece of evidence, exonerating evidence, that there is on the news, they said that this dash camera, the police department says this dash camera does not have an audio. For over 2 years, they've been telling this community that this dash camera does not have audio. They went on the news and they said, we have a lip reader that we're going to bring in to find out what they're saying inside the vehicle. Now, when you watch the dash camera, clearly there is no argument. There is no argument inside the vehicle. They brought in this lip reader. Everybody knows anything. If anybody knows anything about lip readers, if you bring 5 lip readers, all 5 lip readers, each one is going to tell you 5 different things. Apparently, in the discovery, Officer Zymus with Digital Forensic in Prince William County is the one that handled the dash camera. She says in the discovery that this dash camera does have audio, and the audio is on the SD card. So why would you need a lip reader if you have the audio? So you're telling me you cut this dash camera. By the way, this dash camera is cut before impact. And we have proof that they manually cut this dash camera. I mean, when you watch this dash camera, there's no dash camera that cuts off before impact. It just doesn't happen. Now what we're finding out, there's a lens facing outward and there's a lens facing inward. There are 2 frames that this dash camera cuts off on. The last, they say there's, when you watch the dash camera, there's only 8 seconds before it cuts off, where it records in 1 minute increments. You have all those, but then the last 1 minute increment is only 8 seconds. Now, you're supposed to have 8 seconds on the inside because there's a lens facing inward and there's a lens facing outwards. Now, what's disturbing is you have the 2 cameras, which are the camera facing outward and the camera facing inward is connected to the same computer. Now, why do I have a camera that fall on two different frames? Inward, it's 8.0. Outward falls on 8.3. This shows you that they manually cut the camera. They chopped up the camera. They muted this dash camera, and they sealed off the Discovery. I mean, if we hadn't gotten our hand on this Discovery, we wouldn't have found out that literally there's an audio to this dash camera. There's a document that says Officer Zymus says this dash camera has audio, and it's literally on the SD card. Now, by law, by the way, this is exculpatory evidence that they've hid for over 2 years, and it's illegal to hide exculpatory evidence. This dash camera has audio. I mean, all over the news, you've been telling this community that you're getting a lip reader, but all along you've had the audio. This is the news clip from NBC4, where they're getting a lip reader. They have a lip reader.
County judge
freed on bond. Sergeant Chad Mason says that evidence actually started to try to convince the
knew it.
Only on 4 tonight, newly released dash cam video shows the second. Then, as the car changing little,
they have a panic. That
intentional
panic.
Would I do that?
Who spent 2.
New at 5 tonight.
Kerry reports prosecutors even hired a lip reader.
Was
saying on silent dash cam video just.
Hired a lip reader. I mean, this is so disturbing that they literally sat there for over 2 years hiding exculpatory evidence. That's illegal. You're telling me that you have Officer Zymus holding on to the audio this whole time? You have a police department that knows there's an audio. The prosecutor knows there's an audio. But you sit there on the news talking about a lip reader? By law, you can hire an independent expert to go in and download this audio and download the rest of the SD card. Anything on the SD card. Apparently, there is more in this dash camera. There's the day, or records the day before. You're sitting there asking individuals, how is Mustafa's driving? That tell you we didn't see Mustafa's driving. And you literally have a dash camera of that day, of the day before, apparently when he's door dashing with his girlfriend. You don't want to look at those videos. You want to sit there, ask random people that tell you we didn't see anything, but are sitting there that have a motive to talk negative about Mustafa. We have a private investigator that went out, and literally, we have a recording where the 2 star witnesses, the ex-boyfriend and the girlfriend's daughter at the time, who apparently knows another individual that hates Mustafa, is sitting there conspiring on how can we kill Mustafa and make it look like an accident. Let's listen to the audio. I mean, these are the Commonwealth Attorney's witnesses?
Especially the older daughter. And she wanted me to shoot, like, kill him.
The older daughter wanted you to kill him?
Yeah. Like, bro, like, could you please, like, if I make it look like, so, like, you know what I'm saying, like, something, if, like, something fits, would you do it? And I'm like, bro, no.
Amy Ashworth. I mean, think about how disturbing this is. The Commonwealth Attorney. Main witnesses into Mustafa's character, that he's abusive to his girlfriend, that he's abusive to the kids, are two individuals that were conspiring on killing Mustafa before the vehicle accident. Because they knew apparently someone that he had a problem with Mustafa. I mean, talk about having a motive. Talk about your witnesses are already impeached. And then the disturbing part about the whole thing, you're sitting there asking these two individuals who tell you, I didn't see anything, I wasn't there, but yes, Mustafa is abusive, when you literally have a Google Nest video inside the apartment that shows you the relationship. I mean, everything is sealed off. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth was comfortable because she got Judge Carol Weimer to seal off everything for her. But unfortunately for her, everything is on the internet. We're actively releasing the discovery on the internet. You can no longer hide behind Judge Carol Weimer sealing everything off for you. The dash camera shows this is a vehicle accident. The computer inside the vehicle shows that this is a vehicle accident. The investigators on scene say this is a vehicle accident. The witnesses say this is a vehicle accident. That Mustafa did everything he can to avoid a vehicle accident. You've got Mustafa brake marks. You've got the police mechanic say there's brake failure. He tells you there's brake failure in the car. There's mechanical failure. Every piece of evidence in this case, the computer inside the vehicle shows that Mustafa's foot was on the brake the whole entire time, trying to stop this vehicle, avoiding every vehicle. I mean, every piece of evidence in this case shows that this is a vehicle accident. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, because of a lawsuit, because he sued the police before, takes advantage of a vehicle accident. They turn a vehicle accident into a murder. I mean, we're sitting here, we're not asking for much. When we go on this podcast, when we go out and protest, we're asking them to follow the law. Can Mustafa has his due process? Can Mustafa actually can we have trial? Can we put the evidence on the record? I mean, you have a prosecutor that screams in court that Mustafa is guilty, but is literally terrified of the evidence. This Commonwealth attorney, Prosecutor Sammy, is terrified of Mustafa's evidence. You know, my friend Waleed asked me, I thought trial was in December. That's what we thought too. We're asking them to put the evidence on the record so we can have trial. They're literally avoiding the evidence. One lawyer steals our money. Apparently, he's working with the investigator. Investigator Casey Stevens has a relationship with the investigator. Took $55,000 from us. Now we're in a situation where Mustafa needs a lawyer. Mustafa, we're actively asking the community that Mustafa needs a lawyer. And we have to have the evidence on the record. I mean, why are they terrified from Mustafa's evidence? I've never seen a case where the prosecution is terrified of the evidence. It's supposed to work the other way around. But this is the situation. Did you guys go to sleep? Like, everybody's on mute. Everybody went to sleep. I literally Missy, I love you, ma'am. Farah, Casey.
You're doing really good at getting everything across.
Thank you.
I mean,
Don't forget to mention Amy Ashworth wiped out Glenn Ford's
charges. The key witness, Glenn Ford. His criminal charges are completely wiped out. He has speeding. He has drug distribution. Intent to distribute. He had a weapon. He had a weapon on him. So many charges that Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, drug charges with intent to distribute with a gun charge. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth removed all of it. What are you doing, Amy Ashworth? Do you think that's going to make Glenn Ford a reliable witness? Ma'am, I've got him on audio telling an investigator that he wakes up with the other key witness, star witness, who at the time was 16 years old. She wakes up in his bed. Oh, Amy Ashworth, get the best part. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, get the best part. Prosecutor Sarah Sammy, get the best part. Your star witness with the other star witness came together and are talking about killing Mustafa. Can we kill Mustafa and make it look like an accident? What are you going to do, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth? Prosecutor Sarah Sammy says on the news about Mustafa's case. She said, my jury trial. She prides herself that this Mustafa's case is hers. That this is her jury trial. Well, I'm here to tell you, man. Your star witnesses are impeached before you take them and put them on the stand. I've got an audio recording of your two star witnesses who said, by the way, who they say, we were not there. We did not see anything. Are sitting there on a recorded line talking about killing Mustafa. Can we kill him and make it look like... Let me ask you a question, man. Put Kylie Clapp on the stand. This white girl against a Mustafa. Oh, let me get this. Oh, a Muslim prosecute a Muslim. You're Sarah. Sammy. He's Mustafa al-Jazari. So it's not going to look racist. It's not going to look... It's okay. Muslim prosecute Muslim. Who cares if you're getting a false prosecution? You're just going to move up this positions and become maybe a Commonwealth attorney one day. Not on my watch, ma'am. Not on my watch. I promise you, you're going to end up in federal prison. I'm the guy that has your discovery. What did you do in court? You and Prosecutor Buck is in there. Inside that courtroom. You might have the sheriff trespass me, but I promise you, I'm watching everything. I've got eyes and ears inside your courtroom. You got Stephanie Buck sitting there, all bummed out, and she's telling the judge, what are we going to do about Mustafa, brother, your honor? He took everything. Everything? Yes, everything and more. Not only do I have Mustafa's files, I have other individuals in this county files, and we're going to be talking about it. I've got your Commonwealth attorney. I've got her so screwed, ma'am, you have no idea. She's in so much trouble, you have no idea. We've got files that we're going to be releasing. I'm working with certain individuals that are supplying us with files. You're no longer going to be able to operate behind closed doors. Prosecutor Sammy, you want to put this white girl against a Muslim man and say, you killed my mother! Well, ma'am, this white girl that you want to put on the stand is a liar. And it's not my word against her words. I've got the evidence. I've got her on a recorded line talking about killing Mustafa. Oh, apparently, she knows the club owner that had a problem a month before Mustafa met her mother. And apparently, she's been hanging around. Her dad works for Billy, the club owner that had a problem with Mustafa. She hangs around with the strippers that hated Mustafa. Ma'am, you've got a witness that you build the whole entire case on that's impeached before she even takes a stand. When she says, you killed my mother! We're going to play those audios. That this girl is lying about Mustafa. Every piece of evidence showed that this is a vehicle accident. This girl has a motive. She's been hanging around individuals that hate Mustafa. I mean, literally a month before Mustafa met Dorothy. This was going on. You must have not done your homework, ma'am.
Let's not forget that she didn't live there. She didn't live with her mother.
Kylie, that girl, did not live in that apartment. She lived with her father. The father that works for Billy. The guy that has a problem with Mustafa. Unbeknownst to Mustafa. Unbeknownst to anybody, to be honest with you. We found this out just 2 years into it. That this guy,
Keep it up, and goddamn it, I'm telling you,
a club owner out of Crystal City,
you're gonna fucking get off my property. How many times I have to tell him, officer, get the fuck off my property?
went viral because of Mustafa.
Get the fuck off my
Comes out one day. This is an owner of a. This is an owner of a strip club.
You've heard how many times I've told him. You fucking
This is a.
before you blow fuse. Off my property, motherfucker.
This is an Dre. This is an owner out of Crystal City. He owns a strip club and.
I tell you, my best friend said he met Billy twice.
Okay, you know he owns the strip club out of Crystal City, and is very entitled. Comes out one day and wants to remove Mustafa from the property. Now, what is Mustafa doing? Me and Mustafa, we're making an honest living. Mustafa has a small physical therapy equipment business. He's selling heat warmers, $5 heat warmers. I'm passing out my card. I've got a mobile mechanic business. And we're making an honest living in a parking lot that's a public easement. By law, we can be there. Mustafa has a business license. I have a business license. We're promoting our business. We've been going to that spot for a long time. One day, Billy wants to remove Mustafa from the property. You have no right to remove Mustafa from the property. Because of this video, I recorded the video. This video went viral. Over 7 million people watched this video. I mean, that's a lot of people watched this video. Billy goes viral. Billy is not happy. His strippers are not happy. And apparently, a month into this situation, Mustafa met Dorothy. Mustafa met Dorothy for 3 months. That's how long their relationship is. A month before he met Dorothy, this problem was going on. Apparently, Dorothy's daughter, the one that does not live in the apartment, her dad works for Billy. Kylie is a stripper out of that club. Hey, we're going to find out. I've got eyes and ears in different places. And certain birds are telling me certain things. And apparently, this girl that did not live in the apartment lives with her dad. Her dad works for Billy. Kylie is hanging around those strippers. She's a stripper out of that club. Apparently, she's doing the bidding of this guy. We don't know. All we know is that we have an audio of Kylie going to the ex-boyfriend, Glenn Ford, and asking him, can we kill Mustafa and can we make it look like an accident? This is before the vehicle accident, who today we have the police department admit that this is a vehicle accident, that there's brake failure. The police department is telling us that there's brake failure. There's brake failure. Did someone tamper with Mustafa's vehicle? Oh, wait a minute. There's an audio of Glenn Ford and Kylie asking them to kill Mustafa.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Mustafa, hello. Mustafa, thank you for joining the podcast. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa, through the police body cam, Judge Weimer under the microscope. Mustafa, hello. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing okay. Doing all right. We're getting ready to end this podcast, and it's beautiful that you called. It's beautiful how you called right now, so that way we can end it with talking to you. I just got done talking about pretty much. I touched on a lot of topics. It's a lot. There's so much going on in here that you can't literally cover everything within a podcast. Mustafa, I've got Casey, I've got Stefana, Missy, Farah, Dre, Everybody's here. Mustafa, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Casey, Stefan, and Trey. How's everybody doing? And Julia, there's Mara, everybody. That's everybody. Just want to say hello. Life is great. Hanging in there. I pray every day that the truth comes out. And so far, what we are learning here today and every day is that the police misconduct is coming out, and everyone that has any type of involvement in this corruption is being exposed.
Mustafa, I love you. We're working on it. You may be in solitary confinement for over 2 years, but I'll tell you, you have one of the biggest voices in this county. You have people that love you. You have people that are praying for you. You have people that are working for you, and they're writing letters to the Department of Justice. You know, we have Cash Patel in the FBI, and Amy Ashworth and Prosecutor Sammy is not, and Judge Carol Weimer, they're not going to get away with doing what they're doing. You know how many people are writing letters? I mean, we're sitting in front of the DOJ when Cash Patel comes out with his SUVs. He's got 2 SUVs that come out. Literally, Cash Patel exits and he sees us with a table, with a podcast, right in front of his building. Right on top of it, there's a PTZ building. You want to tell me that you're going to sit in a very secured location and they're not going to tune in into your podcast to find out what the hell are they talking about? Mustafa, you have a giant voice here, and the body cams are out. The discovery is out. They can no longer, Judge Carol Weimer can no longer protect Prosecutor Sarah Sammy and Commonwealth Amy Ashworth by sealing off the material. Everything's literally on the internet, and every day we're releasing everything, and we're gonna get to a point where we're gonna literally put these individuals in federal prison. Amy Ashworth, your day is coming. Judge Carol Weimer, you are fucked, sir. I mean, I don't know how else to put it for you. You're in circuit court. It's on the record. Now we have your body cams and the documents that you've been protecting a prosecutor. I don't know how you're going to get out of this one, sir. The only way you can get out of this one is for you to recuse yourself. We have all the evidence that you should be recused. You've literally been lying about Mustafa and protecting a prosecutor that's been lying for 2 years. Mustafa, I love you. How are you doing? You're doing okay?
Just want to say I love you too, and I'm hanging in there, and my faith is strong, and it's only becoming stronger with all the support, all the love and support, everyone that's actually supported me during these difficult times. April 5th is coming up very soon. I would like everyone to know that, this is coming up to like the 3rd year. I mean, it's been a while, let me see, so 2023. I just want to do
Hello?
Dorothy and Empress. This whole fight is about justice, and it's about whatever wrong that's been committed.
Yeah.
And I got into a car accident, and they're accusing me of murder. They put this title on me, profiled me, lied, concealed, and they sealed all the evidence. They tampered with evidence, tampered with witnesses, and these are the individuals that we trust. We are putting our trust in individuals that are corrupt. Where is justice when you clearly see corruption, and this can happen to anybody? I got into a car accident, and they're switching it up into something that it's not. And I have all the evidence to prove it, but they want to play ignorant. So if you don't know, now you know.
Mustafa, on that note, I want to read a letter from Delegate Kelly Fowler, and I'm going to end this podcast with this. About a year ago, Delegate Kelly Fowler got involved, and she emailed Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, and Amy Ashworth replied back to her, and she told her, "Good morning, Delegate Kelly Fowler. Thank you for reaching out to me regarding this case. I am well acquainted with the facts and the investigation and have heard from the family of Mr. Al-Jazari on multiple occasions." That's not true. She kicked us out of the office when we attempted to give her the Google Nest videos in Mustafa's apartment. The trial of the felony charges pending against Mr. Al-Jazari is set to begin in April. Now, you're talking about April of last year. Mustafa is still sitting in solitary confinement without a pre-trial, without a trial, and his evidence are still not on the record. Mustafa Al-Jazari is set to begin in April, and that time the Commonwealth Attorney will present her case to the jury in a court of law. I will not try this case on social media until the trial is over. That's interesting. Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, you're all over the news. Your investigators are all over the news. You've lied about Mustafa on the news. You've released a portion of the dash camera that's chopped up. You won't release the full dash camera. You won't release the case. You're all over the news, but you sit there and tell Kelly Fowler that you won't be on social media until this trial is over. I am not going to publicly comment on the fact of the case, as the ethics rules of the Virginia State Bar prohibit such comments. What a liar. You're all over the news. I appreciate your concern, but you're no longer on the news once the body cam came out, because you're terrified that you're literally caught in the lie. And then she goes on, I appreciate your concern, and if... Let's see. I appreciate your concern, and if I had only seen what is being posted online about this case, I would certainly share your concern. So she's telling her, if that's the only thing that I was watching, I have other evidence, but I can see how you can think that Mustafa is innocent. She said, I appreciate your concern, and if I only seen what is being posted online about this case, I would certainly share your concern. However, as I am sure you are aware, there are often context to the conversation and additional information that can change the way one view information. I have advised the family to share their information and evidence with their attorney, who can best advise them on how to most productive next step. Now, what's interesting, she's telling her, if I only see what's on the internet, I get it. I would think that, yes, Mustafa is innocent. But she's telling her, I have other evidence in Mustafa's case that I'm building my case on. Well, Amy Ashworth, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth, a year ago you tell Kelly Fowler that you have other evidence. Well, ma'am, what are we doing today? We've released the whole entire file, and there is more. And every piece of evidence that you've been building your case on is a lie. You've got witnesses that lied about Mustafa. You're coercing children, weaponizing them against Mustafa. This is your evidence? Witnesses that's telling you hearsay within hearsay. Witnesses that tell you we were not there. Witnesses that are lying about Mustafa. They tell you we were not there. We didn't see anything. You avoid the Google nest, and you rely on individuals that have a motive to hurt Mustafa and lie about Mustafa? What are you doing, Commonwealth Amy Ashworth? You literally lied to Delegate Kelly Fowler. A year ago, you can get away with doing that, ma'am. But today, we've decided to release the files. They're all over the internet, and more is coming. Mustafa Al-Jazari's case, other individuals' case. On that note, Mustafa, I love you. Do you want to say anything before we end the podcast? I think it's starting to rain. I'm out here in the balcony.
I just want to say that Amy Kaplowski Ashworth, she's a Commonwealth attorney who is a jail board member. She oversees everything that happens at the jail. She oversees and gives directives on what happens here. So this is all under her control. I get arrested on April the 5th, 2023. Tragic car accident. I lose my family members. I am grieving. Next thing you know it, on May 24th, 2023, I get massacred by 6 correctional officers that run up to my cell and just annihilate me. Came back from the death twice, from the car accident and from a beating here that's malicious. They tortured me in this jail in America. I'm an American citizen on American soil. This is happening in Prince William County in Manassas, Virginia, under the direct orders of Amy Ashworth. Casey Stevens, who was my lawyer at the time, he comes over to me and says, "You're guilty, motherfucker." And Robert Drum, the lead investigator, is telling Casey Stevens, "How is Mustafa holding up?" After they fist closed, punched me repeatedly, stomped me out, and broke my arm, broke every piece of my body, where I was crawling on the floor begging for mercy. They punched me repeatedly in the back of my head. They wanted me to be deemed incompetent. I have news for you. I'm very competent. I can articulate a sentence and I can understand, and I am seeing and hearing about the discovery where I can aid and assist my attorney in defending myself, where I will stand trial and say the truth and nothing but the truth, that Glenn Ford is a rapist and a pedophile who slept with Kylie, that's Dorothy's daughter, and they have a motive to kill me. Kylie goes up to Glenn Ford and tells him, let's kill Mustafa, make it look like self-defense. And the police are okay with that. They're aiding and abetting. You have the neighbor who's conducting, you have the neighbor, Tanisha Coleman, Glenn Ford, Kylie Clapp, with her father, Jason Clapp, working for William Bain Jr., and you have Amy Hudson with Robert Drum, utilizing the police resources with his wife, Stephanie Claiborne Drum. They're utilizing the police resources, tax-paying dollars, to commit crimes. These are the culprits under the supervision of Amy Ashford, Commonwealth Senior Assistant Sarah Sammy, with Stephanie Buck, utilizing all these resources, controlling the judge, Carol Weimer, to do what is in their evil narrative. And under that, this is exactly what's going on. I'm innocent and I'm coming home, whether they like it or not.
Whether they like it or not, whether prosecutor Sammy likes her or not, whether Commonwealth Amy Ashworth likes her or not, Amy Kotlowski, what is it? Amy Kotlowski what?
Amy Kotlowski Ashford.
Ashworth. I mean, I think she's from Poland. I mean, maybe when Putin takes over Poland, she can go back to Poland and do what she does, is what she thinks that she can get away with doing here. I mean, this is America. There's a constitution where you can, it's not allowed, you cannot do that here, ma'am. And we're going to hold you accountable. And we literally have the evidence. And I mean, before, Mustafa, you know, I'll tell you, before, we were easily dismissed by the Commonwealth Attorney. I mean, look how she's talking to Delegate Kelly Fowler. She's dismissing everything that we're saying. You can, a year ago, you can easily dismiss what we're doing. But today, ma'am, those body cams are on the internet. The discovery is on the internet. You can no longer dismiss my conversation. Literally, the community is doing their own homework, are watching the body cam, looking at the police report. Everything that my brother said just now, literally, the evidence is on the internet. When he's talking about Glenn Ford, yes, sir. When you're talking about Glenn Ford being a rapist, there's an audio of him admitting to a private investigator that he raped the other star witness for Commonwealth Amy Ashworth. She wakes up in his bed. They're literally conspiring to kill Mustafa before the vehicle accident. These individuals have a motive before the vehicle accident. Literally, the evidence is right there. You can no longer dismiss our conversation, Commonwealth Kotlowski Ashworth. Go back to Poland. Not here. Not on our watch. We're going to hold you accountable. Mustafa, before we end the podcast, do you want to say anything before we end and close this podcast? Yes, sir.
A big thank you, and I love everyone that's supporting me. I have been through such traumatic experience that I've never ever in my life ever envisioned. For a whole year straight, I have been crying and I pray every day. I truly believe these are my angels that have protected me. My family in this physical world have saved me. I am so I'm so happy to have such support with individuals that just, like, this is God's work, where I see that if you don't believe in the Creator, or if you don't believe in a higher power, this is exactly what changes an atheist to believe that with the love and support that I have, that just brings great joy to my life. And I really look forward to when I come out to be able to, as a human being, lay flowers and try my best to have a normal life. But in the meantime, I shall wait as I understand the foundation and the fundamentals of being patient, very patient, and justice will prevail in the court of law, because this is a country of law. So just because we have some corrupt individuals here on a lower level, higher authority are going to step up and show that, you can't do that in America. The difference between America and a third world country is that this is a country of law. We have to follow the law. My intent, everyone knows me, as I'm pure. I have great character. I'm a person who shows such humanity towards an animal, a raccoon that's dying in the middle of the street. I would stop traffic, try to save a raccoon's life. We're talking about a human.
Yeah, I remember that story about the raccoon. I mean, you literally said there, shut down traffic to save a raccoon, you and your ex-girlfriend, Christina. I mean, you want to tell me that this and I mean, I'll tell you, the same God that protected you in that vehicle accident is the same God that protected you when the correctional officer beat you inside the jail on multiple occasions, is the same God that's putting all your evidence on the internet. I mean, this is a miracle that literally everything is on the internet. The community is literally watching Amy Ashworth lie about you. This is a miracle, okay? It's the same God that's gonna bring you home, and is gonna bring you justice, and bring your girlfriend Dorothy, and bring 5-year-old Empress justice. That's the same God that's working here. And every day I'm watching miracles, and all I want you to do is take care of yourself, hang in there. You have Mom on the group chat. We have beautiful Casey. We have beautiful Farah. We have beautiful Stefana. And where is Dre? Because we're not definitely. Please, God, for the love of God, please turn off your camera. Okay, you're scaring everybody, sir. Dre loves you. Dre is out here. Everybody's here. You may be in solitary confinement, but I promise you, you have a giant voice here. Yes, ma'am.
I mailed him a letter yesterday or today.
Casey mailed you a letter.
Today.
Casey. Yeah.
Once I receive it, I should be getting it like Monday, Tuesday, latest by Wednesday.
Yeah, I just mailed it today.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm definitely going to respond back. I look forward to it. And really appreciate everybody that's helping me out. Like, there are times where, I check my commissary, I have some money on my commissary. It feels really good, being in this type of environment. And I have such support. When I was out there, I don't accept any handouts. I don't take any charity. I go out there and I work really hard, and I support a lot of people. So I know what kind of person I am. And I'm just praying every day. I really appreciate everyone's support of me.
I love you, Mustafa. Mustafa, we're actively asking the community to donate into Mustafa's legal fund. Mustafa's legal fund is a Cash App. It's a $, Mustafa Legal Fund. I want to specifically thank Farah. Thank you for being there, ma'am. Thank you for donating into everything that we're doing here. I appreciate you, and thank you for being there. I want to thank Shelly. Shelly, thank you for being there. Julia, Shirley, Casey, Stefana, and if I missed anybody, Missy, and if I missed anybody, thank you for being here. Char and her beautiful dog, that poor dog. Bustos. Who else? And Mary Jo. I love Mary Jo. I want to thank Mary Jo. Johnny. We have Johnny. We can't forget about Johnny. I want to thank everybody for being here. On that note, Mustafa. I want to thank Amy Hodson. I want to specifically reach out to Amy Hodson. I haven't seen her in a while. I miss her and her crew. Apparently, they're hiding because we have body cams and we're identifying their fake profiles on the internet. Apparently, I'll tell you a situation here that's happening. The investigator's wife is literally on a body cam. She doesn't work for the police department. She used to be a dispatcher at one point, but she's no longer working as a police for the police department. She's literally on a body cam on three-way with the investigator. We have that body cam, and it's on the internet. For almost 2 years, she's been on the internet under Kate0707, pretending to be an individual that just happened to come across this case. Now, the disturbing part is she had no problem being on the internet and trolling the Mustafa Al-Jazari case, using her husband, Investigator Drum, that falsified the police report, Prince William County Police Department resources to go after anybody that support or talk about the case. I mean, she's posted everybody's kids on the internet. And she has no problem trolling the case. The minute we move to YouTube and put the body cams on YouTube, and now these body cams are on TikTok, on YouTube, she's no longer on the internet. You will no longer hear her on the internet. Amy Hodgkins, a.k.a. Christine Warda, she on TikTok, you'll find her as Christine Warda. She's defaming and trolling the case of Mustafa Al-Jazari. Now, the terrifying part for these people is this investigator Robert Drum is terrified because other police officers know his wife, have heard, know what she sounds like. It's a terrifying situation for her to be on the internet and to have her body cam on the internet, because literally other police officers within this police department are listening to his wife be on the internet and troll the Mustafa Al-Jazari case. That this is a terrifying situation for her. I mean, you'll literally have your body cam on the internet, and you've got other people in the department that are listening to your wife. They're going up to Investigator Drum, sir. They're saying that you falsified the police report. Now you've got your wife on the internet. I mean, this is a terrifying situation. that you no longer see them on the internet. But I do miss them. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I mean, think what Amy Hodgkins have done. This lady pretended to be Christine Warda 7 on TikTok and literally got me Glenn Ford. She put him on the internet. She got me Kylie. She put her on the internet, and she got them to talk. I mean, if it wasn't for them, they told us what they've done. I mean, literally, I think a situation happened where the prosecutor reached out to Amy Hodgkins, told her, "What the fuck are you doing? You ruined my case." The truth came out. They snitched on themselves. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Because Kylie Clapp spoke, and Glenn Ford said that he wakes up and Kylie Clapp is in his bed. She's 15 and he's 40 years old. How inappropriate. And that's your star witness? This is their witnesses? There is something very troubling. If you do a background check on these individuals, you're going to see what kind of crimes they have conducted. They have convictions.
Amy Ashworth deleted their criminal record, and she thinks that she's gonna wipe it clean when they get on the stand. Nothing's gonna, the jury's not gonna see it. Well, I've got an audio that says they were conspiring to kill you.
And make it look like self-defense.
This is the older daughter. And she wanted me to shoot, like, kill him.
The older daughter wanted you to kill him?
Right. Like, could you please,
The older daughter, Mustafa, the older daughter wanted me to kill him. This is before the vehicle accident, and then there's if you keep listening, it's an hour long. He talks about her waking up in his bed. She was 16 at the time. What are you doing fucking a 16-year-old? What kind of fucked up person are you? You're a... And then he's talking about forcing kids to shower. I mean, what 40-year-old man is forcing kids to shower? A 9, a 10, a disgusting individual. And now it's coming out. If it wasn't for Amy Ashworth, ma'am, thank you for your service. You have done this case. You have cracked this case wide open. I mean, I'll tell you, Mustafa, the disturbing part is Amy Hodson gets on a phone call with Investigator Drum, says all these bad things about you, that you're abusive to Dorothy, abusive to the kids, and she says, I don't know him, I've never met him. I mean, right there she's saying, I've never seen anything. I don't know. And then, later in the case, reaches out to me, falls in love with you, writes you love letters, phone calls, endless phone calls, love phone calls, and because of his asshole brother, she's like, fuck him and his brother, and then goes back to defaming you. I mean, and now it's play. I mean, this love story. I mean, you gotta be, ma'am. You've outdone yourself.
They had a plan and they failed miserably. And right now, they can't use anyone as a witness because they contradict themselves. They say Detective Romero did an outstanding work with the kids. The detectives told the kids that had Mustafa not ran away from the scene, your baby sister would have been alive today. And how can I run away if I was helicoptered to the hospital? When I was in the hospital, they're using the kids.
The forensic interview, one of the kids say that the investigator lied to them. He told them that you were on the run, that you left their 5-year-old baby sister, and if you hadn't run away, we could have saved your 5-year-old sister. What are they talking about? You were in a coma, you were helicoptered to the hospital, you were released from the police, from the hospital, and your first priority was to make sure the kids are good. They've lied to the kids. How could you run away if you're in the hospital being helicoptered to the hospital? Like, they weaponize the kids against you. I mean, this is a big problem.
And also, if I was so abusive, this monster they're trying to tame me on the Google Nest camera that you see in the apartment, when the police came to the house and I was in the hospital, when I first came out from the hospital, I was in excruciating pain. The first thing on my mind is to make sure the kids inside the house, they have to be in good, like, taken care of, like the neighbor or myself, because the police said under no circumstances, my brother called Investigator Drum or one of the investigators, and they said under no circumstances is Mustafa allowed to take the children with him. So the neighbor, I thought Tanisha Coleman is a good person, but it turns out she had an evil motive. The kids on the Google Nest, when the police arrived at the house, they said they called out my name. They said, hey, the cops are here. The cops are here. What should we do? They didn't call out to Dorothy, which is their mother, and she's a great mother. They didn't call out to her. They called out to me because they confide in me. They know you have 1 minute remaining. They called out for me because that's the truth. I'm not abusive. I look out for these children. These children were just like my children. I don't have any biological kids, but I know the feeling of being. The first thing the kid do when the police show up, they say Moses. They don't even go to their mother. They don't even say, Mom, the police are here. They say, Moses, the police are here. You're their safety. You're their net.
Do you have time, Mom, anymore?
What time is it?
It's 11:20.
11:20. On that note, Mustafa,
I'm gonna call tomorrow.
I love you, Mustafa. On that note, I love you, Mustafa. You take care of yourself. Everybody loves you. Everybody's here for you. Yes, sir.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Oh my God. We did mine. We should do mine. 11:15.
Before we end this podcast, we have trial with Sheriff Glen Hill on the 19th. We'll update everybody on what's going on. We're going to do a whole entire podcast before the 19th to let everybody know the details. But I'll tell you the gist of it. These people are corrupt. I'm supposed to have a jury trial in circuit court. and they're cherry picking what the jury should hear. Now I'm not even having a jury trial. I'm having a bench trial, and the judge is not gonna hear the whole entire case. I mean, in this case, you will literally have the sheriff, every deputy, come out and say something completely different from the other deputy. They said what they said in general district court. In circuit court they said something completely different. I mean, they've lied about everything. They're contradicting each other, and they're so terrified that they don't want the jury to hear the contradiction. And I'm not even getting a jury trial. I'm getting a bench trial. The point is, we'll do a full podcast about how every deputy is lying, and I'm not getting my due process in circuit court. I'll tell you, I'm gonna appeal it. I'm gonna appeal it to a higher court, and we're gonna make sure to hold Sheriff Glenn Hill accountable. I mean, I'm on public property. I'm not being disruptive. I'm not being disorderly. That's according. I have a video that shows exactly that, but that's according to the sheriff himself. Sheriff Glenn Hill in General District Court, he comes on the stand and he says, Amar is not being disorderly. Amar is not being disruptive. Amar is on public property. I had no idea he was being arrested. And he blames his deputy. His deputy comes out and he says, I didn't know. I was just following orders. I'm doing what the sheriff is telling me. I just showed up after the fact. I'm doing what the sheriff is telling me. I mean, they're contradicting each other. At the end of the day, I'm on public property. They admit that it's public property. I'm not bothering anybody. It's on video that I'm not disruptive. I'm not disorderly. I'm literally sitting there recording a video. I mean, and now they're cherry picking the evidence. They don't want the jury, and now it's a bench trial. They don't want this judge to know. It's a shit show. It is an absolutely shit show. But I'll tell you, they might get away with it in circuit court. That's okay. I'm appealing it, and I'll promise you, Sheriff, I'm gonna hold you accountable. I'm already holding you accountable in the court of public opinion. I'm embarrassing the fuck out of you, sir. I've got the evidence to prove it. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna FOIA request my body cams. You're gonna deny me the body cams. Okay, but I'm gonna sue you for it. And Amy Ashworth, I think, just got fined $20,000 for not releasing body cams. Ma'am, I'm gonna make sure I get my body cams. And every day we're gonna talk about what the sheriff did, why he arrested me, and why I didn't have a fair trial in General District Court and in Circuit Court. I mean, they got me this lady. She refused. I mean, she wouldn't even look at me. That's how angry she was. She's angry at me. She's angry at my lawyer. And at one point, I kid you not, at one point, my lawyer would ask the sheriff a question. He has him on the stand. And the judge would reply for him. I've never seen, to the point where the lawyer is telling the judge, Your Honor, I'm talking to the sheriff. I've never seen anything like this. The sheriff is so confused, is looking at the prosecutor for an answer. I mean, the lawyer is asking him, Sheriff Glenn Hill, what is your policy about the small public park? He said, I don't have it posted anywhere. It's in my head. It's an unwritten policy. None of his deputies know what the policy is. He doesn't even know what the policy is. He said 1 minute he says it's okay for someone to be there. 1 minute you can't be there. You can hold a sign as long as I'm okay with the sign. I didn't have a problem with his sign, but if he's holding a different sign, he can be there. Which one is it, sir? You clearly have a sign that I'm holding a sign that says Amy Ashworth, a jail board member, allows a private jail to murder inmates. You had a problem with that sign. And it's so clear. You're giving contradictory statements to who can be there, who can't be there. I mean, if you don't even know the policy, your deputies sure don't know the policy. How the hell am I gonna? How am I supposed to know your policy? It's ridiculous. It's out. It's so disturbing on so many levels. But what's disturbing is this judge sits there. Judge, what's her name? Jeanette Irby. Jeanette Irby. I've never seen. I mean, this judge is. I mean, lady, did you fuck your way to be a judge? I mean, is that how you become a judge? You sure sound like you have a relationship with this old man, calling himself a sheriff. I mean, you know, it's one thing if I mean, she's so angry. I mean, I've never met you in my life, lady. Last time I checked, we are in America, and we do have a First Amendment. I mean, it's one thing if this is your personality, you have this stern personality that you don't like, lady. The way you flirt with the sheriff behind the bench is weird. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're so friendly with the prosecutor. You're so friendly with the sheriff. Extra friendly with the sheriff. I mean, I don't know, ma'am. Does your husband know that you're fucking the sheriff? Judge Jeanette Irby. Lady, I'm going to make you my conversation. Every day I'm going to get on a podcast and we're going to get to know who you are, who you associate with. How the hell did you become a judge in our county? I mean, one of the most disturbing part about the whole entire case. I mean, there's so many disturbing parts. You have something in, there's a case law out of Supreme Court is where it's called a good faith argument. Stefano, help me out. You've been a paralegal for 20 years, just about. A good faith argument is a case law out of the Supreme Court that if a police officer tell you you can't be here, they can't if you're not disorderly, which I'm not disorderly. I'm not being charged with disorderly. The sheriff says I'm not disorderly. The video shows I'm not disorderly. They cannot trespass you because you're in good faith believe that you have a First Amendment on that piece of property. That they literally cannot trespass you and charge you with trespassing. This is literally a case law out of the Supreme Court. Judge Jeanette Irby says, I'm not going to address or acknowledge that case law. Well, why the hell not, ma'am? Because, yeah. Stefana, it's unconstitutional to rule against that case law. And as a matter, the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court.
Supreme Court. And there's also a thing called clean hands doctrine.
Yes, ma'am.
That they need to come into court with clean hands. That they have not done anything illegal or dishonest.
Exactly. You know, what's disturbing is this is on the record. Literally, this is on the record. In general district court, the judge literally says, I play golf with the sheriff. I own a building that I lease half of it to your previous attorney, Casey Stephen, that you that you had a problem with. Now, literally, at the end of the proceeding, he says, I believe in the case law that you are absolutely within the case law where a good faith argument does exist. But I'm going to rule you guilty. What do you mean? You just said the case law applies to me. And by the way, this is on the record. Jeanette Irby says, I'm not going to acknowledge that case law. Why? Why would you not acknowledge a case law that applies to this situation? It's unconstitutional for you to just not acknowledge that case law, which is the foundation of this case, and rule against every piece of evidence. Anyway, that's okay. Thank you for I'm glad that this judge wants to include herself in my podcast. Ma'am, I'm going to make you the point of my podcast. You, the other judge, I mean, lady, what do you think I do for a living? I come on here, I talk about my brother and those individuals that are committing corruption in our county. And you just made it to the hallmark. Either way, whatever happened on the 19th, it's a shit show and they're all corrupt. I'm going to appeal it to a higher court. Do these people not realize that this is on the record? For the love of God. I think, you know what they
Stupidity.
I swear to God, you know what they bet on? That you're just simply going to go away. Maybe if we pretend like, you know, those ostriches that puts their head in the sand and pretend that you're do not exist. Maybe that if they just turn themselves into a bird, put their hand in the sand, Sheriff Glen Hill, you might turn yourself into a bird, put your head in the sand, but you've got a diaper as big as, I mean, God damn it, sir. A 7-year-old man that wears a diaper. Now, I don't know what you're doing, sir. I'm not going away. Look up.
Can you make this a series?
Oh, it's definitely going to be a series.
I mean, all the way to the end of this whole.
You know, there is so much material, it's not even funny. And they're literally giving me the material. I mean, wait until... Missy, before we end this podcast, I think I developed a hobby. It's a hobby that I find disturbing. I tagged you in a video. I tagged you in a video. So there is this podcast that I've been watching, and every time this guy talks about his experience overseas, I'm literally bullying the guy, trolling the guy. So there's a video. I'm gonna play it, and we'll end our podcast with this. So my comment was, Missy, I tagged you. I said my comment. I said I'm the guy that told him I was gonna take care of it. I never actually took care of it. Let's watch that video.
Entire prison where the guards feel at risk is in the cafeteria because you got 1,000 guys and 6 guards. So at the first sign of trouble, they hit the panic button, and then every guard in the prison comes and they start cracking heads. So the banana boss is sitting next to me, and he pulls my shirt and he says, "Sit the fuck down, please." So I sit down. I said, "I'm gonna fucking kill this guy, Pete." I don't even understand.
That is not what he said. I can promise you that.
I should say why I was as angry as I was. Like, I was gonna spend my last week in solitary, having risked adding, to my sentence for beating this guy. But I was gonna beat him right there in the cafeteria in front of everybody. Pete says,
You know, this guy's personality screams bully me. I don't know. Something about this guy that screams, for the love of God, bully me. I'm 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm sitting here writing a whole entire comment about his podcasts.
"Sit the fuck down, calm down, and I'll take care of it." I said, "Well, what's that supposed to mean?" He says, "It means I'll take the fuck care of it." I said, "Okay, all right." He said, "Now go back to my cell and read the paper." I go, "Okay, I trust you." So I went back to his cell, and I'm reading the USA Today. And he comes back like 20 minutes later, and he goes, "It's done." I said, "What's done?" He goes, "It's taken care of," like this. I go, "What's that supposed to mean?" He said, "It means it's taken care of. You don't have to worry about it." I was like, "Okay." So I go back across the hall to my cell. I'm sitting there. Like another 20, 30 minutes pass. And again, out of my peripheral vision, I see movement. I turn, and it's the guy. He's got like a bloody mouth, a bloody nose, a fat lip. His eye is swollen. And I'm looking at him like, and he goes, I wanted to apologize for calling you a rat. I didn't know about your prominence in the Italian community.
I can promise you that story did not happen. Sorry, well, I'm the guy that told him I was going to take care of it. I never actually took care of it. On that note,
Thank you, Omar.
Missy, I love you. Stefana, Farah, Casey, Mother, thank you for being here. I hope we were on our best behavior. I want to thank everybody for being here. This is not another boring podcast. Mustafa through the police body cam. Judge Carol Weimer under the microscope.
It is never a boring podcast.
Not another boring podcast. I love the correctional officer that are going up to my brother telling him, we're watching your brother's podcast. It's called Just Another Ordinary Podcast.
Ordinary.